I'd like to play you a couple of songs tonight, original songs. In 2022, I went back to my primary school's 125th year reunion. My primary school is a little school called Gindie, not to be confused with Gympie, spelled Gympie, but Gindie, Gindie. Now, for those of you who don't know where Gindie is, if you can locate Emerald on a map, which is basically 4 hours drive west of Rockhampton, and then just go south about 14 miles in the old money, you will find Gindie. If you put on your satellite, Google satellite, you will find that there is a school, a railway line that goes past the school, also goes past some grain silos and a CWA hall, and coming off the road between Emerald and Springshaw, heading east 18 miles is a road called Glenarina Road. At the end of that road is, or was, the property of Glenarina, which is actually where I grew up, first 20 years of my life. And I want to sing you two songs tonight about where I grew up. The first is about the CWA Hall. Now, this is a fictional story, as all good stories are, but when I played it to my parents, they said, actually, there's some elements of truth in it. And when I was there in 2022, the CWA at Gindie had ceased to exist, and I'm not sure who's using the hall, but it's no longer a CWA hall. But this was like what it was like when I was growing up, entirely fictionalised, I hasten to add. It's called Out of View. Cupcakes on tables, neat little rows. You in your blue dress with a bright yellow bow. I'm feeling awkward, tongue-tied and shy. Look to the ground, then up at the sky. The stars are all out, the air's cold and clear. The old folks are chatting over chips and a beer. The young ones are racing round the hall wild and free. The band strikes a chord, it's plain to see. It's Saturday night in Gindie. I can see it like I was there, but it slips out of view like me and you, vanishes into the air. I plucked up my courage while dragging my feet, and I asked for a dance. You blushed in your seat. It started with a smile, then a kiss, took a chance. Before we could blink, it was love and romance and more. Now I see you. Oh, now you're gone. Just like Saturday night in Gindie, I can see it like I was there. Then it slips out of view like me and you, vanishes into the air. Thank you. I'm pretty sure that's the only song about Gindie that you'll find in the canon. So the next song, just while I'm getting the tuning up. I was up in the old hometown, Emerald, which is sort of the nearest big smoke, for a work trip for 2 weeks, and we had some spare time. So I went out and with a work colleague, and we went to the farm that I grew up on. And the farm was 24,000 acres. It was farmed by my father, his brother, and was owned between them and my grandparent. And in the early 70s, it was split up into 4 blocks and gradually got sold off. And so we moved from the old homestead to our quarter of the block, or the quarter of the old property. And on that quarter of the old property, we built a house. And so what was the homestead gradually got demolished. We were back there in 1994 when one of my brothers got married in Springshaw, so nearby. And there was about a quarter of the house left, enough recognisable landmarks that we could wander around and say, okay, well, that's where my bedroom was, or used to be, and that's where we played outside, etc. But when I went back in 2009, there was nothing, literally. And there were quite a few outbuildings as well as the homestead. It was just pasture. It had all gone. And there's a Welsh word called hireath, H-I-R-E-A-T-H, which is basically untranslatable, but it's essentially that feeling of nostalgia for a past that you can't actually connect with anymore. It's gone. And as songwriters do, I sat down and tried to put that in writing and singing. And it's called Fragments. It's 45 minutes from town to here. Once took 2 hours, most in low gear. 30-odd years, that's a lifetime round here. Now I return. I'm standing here staring at the long waving grass that covers the fragments of lives now past. The old house is gone, the pastures return, it's all disappeared. All of the love, all of the joy, images tumbling life here as a boy. There stood a home filled with laughter and fun. That's long over, time's moving on. I'm looking all round on the drive back to town. Wide open plains, trees are all gone. Straining for landmarks I once knew by heart. Where did they go? All of the love and all of the joy, the images tumbling life here as a boy. There stood a home filled with laughter and fun. That's long over, time's moving on. Thank you. If you do a search on YouTube under my name, Ian Dearden, and Fragments, which is the name of that song, there's a number of different versions of it, but importantly you'll find one version which is all photographs. They're all taken by my dad. They're extraordinary because it's like stepping into a time capsule. That song, those photographs. My darling mum, who died 3 years ago. Various other people who are almost unrecognisable, and of course those landmarks that have disappeared, the house, the trees, the yard, etc. So you can see all of that to that song. I thank my darling dad Rob, who is still alive and still taking photographs, for taking those photographs of our youth, of us growing up, and enabling us to still connect with those little fragments of our life. So that's my 2 songs. I managed to crib that out of the blackboard. You're going to hear 5 of my colleagues shortly. They've still got to do their sound checking, etc. So be patient with us while I get that done, and we'll be back at 8 o'clock to give you Smiths and Others, followed by our fabulous second booked act tonight, who's already done a bit of sound checking and sounds absolutely extraordinary as well. So thank you very much for that. We'll be back in 20 minutes. Thank you.
And we've both been back.